The Trebuchet master has ordered the crew to split into two teams. So one winder from each wheel has now stepped out to operate a brake at the front, which is simply a piece of oak at the base of each wheel. This leaves one winder remaining inside each wheel, and they must walk on for a second time. This time walking in that direction. Now the reason why they have to get back inside those wheels and walk the other way is because of the rope used to pull down the throwing arm and lift up the counterpunch. That rope has now wrapped itself around the central axle. So if the Trebuchet master was to pull the trigger at this stage, well then Ursa would be destroyed. The axle would be torn from the heart of the machine, thrown out of the back, decapitating our Trebuchet master in the process. So the winders now have the important job of walking off the slack, taking that rope from the axle, ensuring that Ursa has a free-flying arm. However, they must be careful not to take off all of the rope. We still need a small portion of rope remaining on the axle, so when we shutter, we can immediately start the winding and loading process once again. But when it comes to war, we must be shooting this machine as quick as possible, at least once every 6 minutes. Now this makes life inside the wheels extremely uncomfortable. Winding this machine at an incredible rate is very tough on the body and is regarded as one of the worst jobs in history. Let me explain why. When you're inside the wheels and you're walking that way, you not only will have to walk the weight of the wheel, which weighs over a ton, you have to lift that 5.5 tons of ballast. So this is not a walk in the park. When you walk inside the wheels, you don't just walk, you climb and you lift. You stride high, you keep those knees high, keeping a straight back, but also you have to watch out for the back of your head, making sure you don't knock yourself out on that central axle. So this is a very tough part of the wind, like walking up an ever-increasing hill. But at this stage of the wind, it's a different story altogether. First of all, you're on your own. The reason why there's only one winder in each wheel is because there is no weight to lift. That is now locked off at the trigger. So, it's the easiest part of the wind, however, it's the most dangerous, because that 1 ton of weight will still be within that wheel. But this time, it's not going against you, it's going with you. So if you decide to go faster in the wheel, you may want to run, well then the wheel's going to get faster and faster. That 1 ton of weight will build momentum and speed, and you will eventually lose yourself and you will trip and fall. You will then tumble around inside the wheel until it stops. You will then fall, hitting that central axle, most likely folding you in two, breaking your spine. This is why we have those brake operators at the front. They communicate with the winders in each wheel, making sure that they keep a safe, steady pace. And they are also looking out for symptoms of sickness, but it wasn't uncommon for the winders to get very ill inside those wheels. We call it Trebuchet sickness, but you know it as motion sickness, and it's very simple. As the wheels rotate, the outer slats cause a flickering of light, flashing on and off in your eyes. This does two things. It disorientates, but it also makes you feel very sick, and you could throw up inside the wheel. Now, it's not a good idea to throw up in an environment where the floor becomes the ceiling over and over and over again. It's going to go everywhere. It's going to coat the entire inside of the wheel, and you'll most likely slip on it. Remember, if you fall inside the wheels, you can break your back. So, how did the medievals combat Trebuchet sickness? Easy. Very smart. They used blind people. Blind people to walk inside the wheels, they can't see the flickering light caused by the slats. So therefore, they had an efficient team to take to war. Very cool. So we can shoot our machine once every 6 minutes. Now that's quite slow when compared to that of the cannon. Now cannons can create a breach in a city wall, perfect for the siege. But once that breach is met, you tie up several of your men, protecting that breach. Also, you have to send in your soldiers through that breach to fight inside the city, through the streets and in the buildings. Now the problem with close quarter medieval urban warfare is that you have to be prepared to lose a lot of your force. Perhaps half of your soldiers won't survive. Ursa gives us another option, because not only with trebuchets can we launch projectiles at city walls, we can launch them over the walls and make life inside the city for the inhabitants a living hell, so they surrender. So what can we throw from our trebuchet? Well, we can throw anything. Rocks, fire, people, dead animals, anything. A dead animal is a good choice if you want to fight a dirty war. So you can send in dead carcasses of horses or cows. Send them into the city. We're trying to hit their wells, their water supply. If we can contaminate their water, then they have to surrender. You can only survive a few days without water. but also psychological warfare. Just the mere construction of our trebuchet can cause the city to surrender. And if that doesn't work, the one thing medieval man was most frightened of was fire. And most of the internal structures of a medieval city would be made of wooden thatch, so we can shoot fireballs. And if we do that, we all create a raging inferno within that city, leaving your enemy with a very simple choice: surrender or burn. But our plan for tomorrow is to breach the city walls and destroy the internal buildings. For this, we need to throw rocks, and that's what we'll be shooting from our trebuchet now. We will be launching an 18-kilo rock using slingshot. The call goes out from the trebuchet master, stone loaded. The rock has been placed into a sling bag, permanently attached to the throwing arm. They are loaded in the heart of the machine, in the loading trough. The ball goes into the sling over the ball, and then the top of the sling is hooked to the end of the arm. The stone is loaded, we are almost ready for launch, but we still have those safeties attached at the trigger. So our trebuchet master steps up to take off the chain. Then with a steady hand, she pulls out the pin. The trebuchet is now live and ready to launch. The trebuchet master now does the final checks, ensuring the crew are away from the machine, for she alone will take responsibility for the launching of the rock. And when she's happy, she will unravel the trigger rope, stand back, and with a cry of "have a care," she will pull that trigger. But I think our trebuchet master needs some help, so we will do this all together. We will provide the trebuchet master with the command to pull that trigger. And it's very simple. It's a countdown from 10, and then we give the command, loose. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, are you ready to count? Come on, that was rubbish. We're practicing for war here. Are you ready to count? Yeah! Then let's do it. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Loose! And we launch! There she goes, launching the rocket at 120 miles an hour. Fantastic! Ladies and gentlemen, the Warwick Castle Trebuchet! That is not achieved without a lot of hard work. And we've had a very special crew inside those wheels for you today. Members of the audience.